Tiny terrors, a duel to the death. The moon hung like a half-eaten cookie in the night sky as Chucky trudged through the abandoned fairground. His plastic shoes made soft squelching sounds in the mud, his stitched face locked in its perpetual sneer. Tonight was the night. The challenge had been issued 3 days ago when someone had the audacity to stock them side by side in the cursed collectibles section of the occult shop downtown. Small but deadly, the price tag had read. One size fits all. Chucky spit on the ground. He was nobody's collectible, and he certainly wasn't in the same league as that gold-obsessed garden ornament. The carnival had closed years ago after a series of unfortunate accidents that definitely had nothing to do with a possessed doll. Now it served as neutral territory. No children to possess, no leprechaun-friendly foliage, just rusty rides and moldering cotton candy machines. "Top of the evening to you, plastic boy," came a gravelly Irish brogue from atop the carousel. There he sat, all 3 feet of him swinging his buckled shoes from a chipped unicorn. His green suit was immaculate despite the surroundings, his red beard neatly combed, his eyes glittering with malice and mischief. "You're late," Chucky growled. "I've been waiting to cut you down to size for hours." The leprechaun cackled, leaping down with surprising agility. Funny words from someone who needs a booster seat at the movies. He adjusted his hat, the gold buckle catching the moonlight. "But I respect punctuality. Had to finish me Lucky Charms, didn't I?" "The only thing lucky about you is that I've let you live this long," says the fellow who got defeated by a 6-year-old multiple times. Chucky's hand tightened around his knife. "At least my movies made money." The leprechaun's smile vanished. "That's it. No more Mr. Nice Leprechaun." They began to circle one another, 2 pint-sized predators in the decaying carnival. The rules were simple. No outside help, no running away, fight until only one remained. The horror community had grown tired of their constant bickering at conventions, their sabotage of each other's killing sprees, the time the leprechaun had turned all of Chucky's knives into rubber chickens. "There can be only one tiny terror," the leprechaun said, pulling a sharpened 4-leaf clover from his pocket. "And it's not going to be some reject from a cereal box," Chucky replied, brandishing his signature knife. They lunged at each other with the fury of titans compressed into miniature forms. The leprechaun had magic, yes, but Chucky had survived countless deaths through sheer stubbornness. The clash sent sparks flying, literal sparks, as the leprechaun's magic collided with the voodoo energies animating Chucky's doll body. They fought through the haunted house, triggering ancient mechanisms that still functioned after years of disuse. Mechanical ghosts popped out as they slashed and stabbed, providing an absurd soundtrack of tinny wails and creaky boo sounds to their deadly duel. "I've survived fires, dismemberment, and direct-to-video sequels," Chucky taunted, as he dodged a blast of green energy. "I've been to space," the leprechaun countered, narrowly avoiding a knife to his kidney. "So has every horror franchise that ran out of ideas." They crashed through the Hall of Mirrors, their reflections multiplying their battle into an army of diminutive monsters. Glass shattered as they threw each other into the mirrors, curses flying as freely as blood and stuffing. "Your mother was a sock puppet. Your gold is just chocolate wrapped in foil." The fight spilled out onto the midway, where they weaponized carnival games. The leprechaun animated stuffed animals to attack, while Chucky fired ring toss rings with deadly accuracy. A particularly vicious assault with darts sent them both tumbling into the fortune teller machine. Inside, the mechanical Zoltar whirred to life, its glassy eyes glowing as the combatants paused, momentarily startled. "You seek supremacy," the fortune teller intoned. "But have you considered therapy?" "Shut up," they shouted in unison before resuming their battle with renewed vigor. Hours passed. The fairground became increasingly damaged as their fight escalated. The Ferris wheel now leaned at a precarious angle. The bumper cars were scattered like discarded toys. The cotton candy machine spouted pink fluff that looked disturbingly like insulation from Chucky's increasingly damaged form. Both were showing signs of wear. The leprechaun's suit was torn, his hat long gone. One of his shoes had been transformed into a piranha that Chucky had somehow managed to use against him. Chucky wasn't faring much better. His famous overalls were in tatters and his right arm hung by mere threads. "Getting tired, dollface?" The leprechaun wheezed, leaning against a shooting gallery stall. "I could do this all night, short stack," Chucky panted, using his knife to prop himself up. They stared at each other across the debris-strewn path, bloodied but unbowed. "This is ridiculous," the leprechaun finally said. "We've been at this for hours and we're both still standing." "Best 2 out of 3? Chucky suggested wearily. "Or..." The leprechaun's eyes gleamed with sudden inspiration. "We could join forces." "What?" "Think about it, lad. We're spending all this energy fighting each other when we could be terrorizing the living." Chucky paused, considering. "A partnership? A nightmare alliance. They'd never see it coming. Your voodoo, my magic. We'd be unstoppable." Slowly, a grin spread across Chucky's stitched face. "Huh. Not the dumbest idea you've had. I'll take that as a ringing endorsement." They approached each other cautiously, weapons still at the ready but no longer pointed directly at vital organs or stuffing repositories. "To the Tiny Terror Alliance," the leprechaun said, extending a gnarled hand. "To making everyone else sorry," Chucky agreed, reaching out. As their hands clasped, there was a blinding flash of light. When it faded, they both stood frozen, looking down at their joined hands in horror. "What did you do?" Chucky snarled. "Me? This wasn't me, magic," the leprechaun protested. But the evidence was undeniable. Where their hands met, the plastic of Chucky's form and the mystical flesh of the leprechaun were fusing. The process was spreading rapidly up their arms, their distinct materials melding into something new and horrifying. "Congratulations," boomed the voice of Zoltar from the damaged fortune teller. "You have triggered the ancient merger clause of supernatural combat. When 2 evenly matched immortal entities agree to cease hostilities, they become one." "No, I take it back," the leprechaun shouted. "Stop this right now," Chucky demanded, but it was too late. Their bodies were rapidly combining, magic and voodoo spiraling together like strands of terrible DNA. Their screams blended just as their forms did, until finally, standing alone in the center of the destroyed carnival was a single figure. It wore tattered overalls over a green vest. One eye was Chucky's icy blue, the other the leprechaun's mischievous green. Red hair sprouted wildly from its head, and when it spoke, it was with 2 voices in perfect, horrible harmony. "Well, isn't this a fine feckin' mess?" it said, examining its half-plastic, half-magical hands. Then it smiled, revealing teeth that were part pearly white, part doll's perfect porcelain. "But you know what? I feel lucky." The being that was neither Chucky nor the leprechaun, but somehow both, picked up both the knife and the sharpened 4-leaf clover. It tested their weight in its hands, then tucked them into its pockets. "Time to show the world what a real tiny terror can do," it declared, and strode purposefully toward the exit, leaving tiny footprints, one plastic, one with a buckle mark, in its wake. In the shadows, Zoltar's mechanical eyes tracked the departure of the new entity. Its painted face seemed to smile ever so slightly as it powered down. Mission accomplished. Another successful merger in the Great Cosmic Horror Consolidation Initiative. After all, shelf space in the nightmares of humanity was getting crowded these days.